The content is copyrighted by the respective publishers. For more information, please visit us on the web at nfradioreading.org.
Hello, this is George Collins, and for the next hour I will be reading from the current issue of the Am-Pol Eagle on the Niagara Frontier Radio Reading Service. First of all, headlines. Dingus Day Party on April 6th, 2026. It looks like it's taking place at St. Gabriel's, 5271 Clinton Street, Elma, which is about a quarter mile east of Transit. An 11:30 a.m. polka mass with special delivery. I'm not sure what that means. Continuous music from 12:30 to 9 p.m. Wow. By the New Direction Band. There's also the Polka Confetti Band from Chicago, Illinois, and then Tony's Polka Band from Hagman, New York. So that's a lot of talent, a lot of musical talent coming in for Dingus Day at St. Gabriel's. Mark and Cherie Trepaz broadcasting. Mark and Cherie Trepaz are broadcasting live on the Polka Jammer Network from 6 until 8 p.m. Admission is $15. However, children under 12 are free. Table reservations for 10 with paid admissions only. Food is by the chef Kevin Kutas Catering from the Polish Villa Pierogi, LLC. Polish Villa, of course, long-time, excellent food from the Polish Villa. Polish platter admission, $25, which includes the Polish platter from 12 until 2 p.m. Polish platter includes, are you ready, folks? 2 pierogi, fresh and smoked Polish sausage, 1 golubki, sweet and sour cabbage, and bread and butter. Polish food a la carte, available from 2 until 8 p.m. Free admission with a purchase of a Polish platter, 12 noon until 2 p.m. So there's a lot of options there that I read to you. I'm sure you could just call them, call St. Gabriel's, and they could, or go on their website and you could get more details. Advanced tickets can be purchased at the St. Gabriel Rectory at 5271 Clinton Street. Reduced general admission after 5 p.m. Sponsored by the St. Gabriel Holy Name Society. So dance the night away on our more than spacious dance floor. And let's go into a little detail here. Celebrating 20 years of the Buffalo Dingus Day Parade. It's hard for Eddie DeBasowitz not to wax poetic when it comes to Dingus Day in Buffalo. The celebration, as people with Polish heritage and ancestry know, dates back to, quote, pre-religious observances and the acknowledgement of the new growing system, whether people worship the sun or Mother Nature or God, whatever they were worshiping prior to Catholicism in Poland. It represents a new beginning. It is the cycle of nature, says Eddie. Everything starts again in the springtime. Amen. This year marks the 20th anniversary of the Dingus Day Parade in Buffalo, something that DeBasowitz is particularly proud of and eager to celebrate and participate in. He, along with parade coordinator Wendy Higgins, president of the Polish Cadets, anticipate an even bigger turnout this year, both in terms of people marching in the parade and those enjoying the spectacle in Polonia. Eddie says, normally we have about 120 to 130 participants, and that could be a float, it could be a dancing troupe, it could be people walking, it could be people on bicycles, people driving in cars, but this year we'll probably do 150 to commemorate the 20th anniversary, he says. Already there are more dance troupes signed up to perform and participate than in years past, most of which are traveling to Buffalo for the day. Two groups, and I hope I don't butcher the pronunciations, are first group is the Krakowiacy and the Polish heritage dancers are local. Two other groups, Cracovia and Redos Joy, are coming down from Ontario, Canada, among others. Quote, we get people from all over the world now, certainly from all over the country, but just from my own personal interactions over the last few years, Eddie says he's personally spoken with people from Texas, California, Florida, England, Poland. They're literally coming from all over the country, all over North America, and really all over the world to participate and enjoy Buffalo's parade. Polish media have even made the trip to cover the event and beam the festivities back home to Poland, he says. It's put Buffalo on the map. Who would have thought that Dingus Day would turn into a tourism tool, but it has, close quote. Dingus Day Parade this year begins at 5:30 p.m. on Monday, April 6th. Participants will check in at the intersection of Memorial and Paderewski. No other vehicles will be allowed beyond that point, and participants can check in from 2 until 4 p.m. The deadline for being in the parade is Tuesday, March 26th. The application is available at, and here's a website coming your way here, www.dingusday.com. Oh, and there's a slash at the end. The parade will begin at Memorial Drive and head west on Broadway, ending at Fillmore Avenue. There are also several awards to be announced later for this year's parade, including Dingus Day Capital of the World, quote, to be awarded to a float or participating group that best visually depicts Buffalo's unique distinction as Dingus Day Capital of the World. In addition, other awards, I guess, include Best Use of Red and White, Best Use of Pussy Willows, and the TOPS Best Family Float or Group, which goes to the group that, quote, best demonstrates their collective Polish pride, says Debasowitz. For those who might want to do something a little healthier before they participate in pierogi and paiwo, this is the second year for the Dingus Day 5K, starting at noon. The race begins and ends at the Pussy Willow Park main stage area of Memorial and Paderewski Drive, near where the main event will take place that evening. Registration for the race is $35 in advance or $40 between April 1 and the morning of the event. Those who register before March 27th at 9 a.m. are guaranteed a Dingus Day 5K race shirt. All registrants will receive a free Pussy Willow Pass, $15 value, that provides access for free or at a discount at many of the Dingus Day parties and transportation on the shuttle buses running from various locations throughout Buffalo. So that sounds convenient, transportation on shuttle buses. It's been a long, frigid winter, especially January, with plenty of snow and long stretches where going outside was not fun. Dingus Day represents the changing of the seasons and gives people a reason to come outside, says Debasowitz. He says people get spring fever by the end of January, usually. Well, I don't know about that. That automatically makes people want to get out and celebrate if they can. In addition, this whole thing became a rallying point for Polish pride. For decades, certainly his entire life, says Eddie, and way before that. Being Polish was not something that people were really keen about promoting, which was unfortunate. But when the parade began to come back to life 20 years ago, he believes that the time was right to try again. He said it just worked. I'm not saying Dingus Day is the thing that made people proud of being Polish, but it certainly helped. I think Pope John Paul II had a lot more to do with it than anything we might do here in Buffalo, but it all helped. And this became a focal point. It became a rallying point for people, especially younger people. I noticed that within the first 3 years of the event, we saw young people embracing their heritage. He extends a welcome to anyone and everyone, regardless of whether they have Polish ancestry, to come out and enjoy the festivities. Eddie says Dingus Day is not just a day, it's a state of mind. That state of mind is one of renewal, of hope, of starting over. Good for Eddie. So there's still time to get your float ready and join the parade. And here's a lovely ad from the Koteki restaurant people, Grandview Grove, for April 6th, Dingus Day Bash, Buffalo's biggest polka party with Keith Strass and Polka and Confetti, which is apparently Chicago's #1 honky polka band. And they're going to be playing from 11:30 until 2:30 p.m. that day, and then followed by the DJ Polka Jammers from 3 until 6 p.m. And then finally, the last band will be Hocus Pocus, Polkas, from 6 until 9 p.m. So, let's see. In Tonawanda, North Tonawanda, headline says new route, new theme options for the North Tonawanda Dingus Day Parade. Article starts off with, above all else, Joe Maranka is hoping this year's weather's better for the 6th annual North Tonawanda Dingus Day Parade. Last year's torrential downpours led to a slightly smaller crowd, but the enthusiasm and festivities were not dampened at all. This year's parade is taking a slightly different route to better incorporate both the city of Tonawanda and the town of North Tonawanda. So Maranka says we decided to move the parade, to start the parade down Oliver Street at Thompson and Oliver, and then making a right onto Goundry Street and take that to Webster, which is our downtown area, basically in North Tonawanda. Maranka's chairman of the North Tonawanda Neighborhood Watch and co-chair of the North Tonawanda Dingus Day Parade Committee. He says we get to go past 2 main blocks of downtown, over the canal on the bridge there at Webster, right where the Canal Street Pavilion grounds are, and that's where we're going to have our after party this year. Most of the parade technically is in North Tonawanda, but the party is in the city of Tonawanda, something he says that was done intentionally to bring the municipalities together. He says the Canal Street Pavilion is really set up for this type of event. The staging tables, the shelter, power the lighting, even the bathrooms are all right there, so it's more conducive for a concert, he says. New this year, there will be 3 cash prizes given to the best floats in the parade, with $500 going to the first place winner, $300 for second place, and $200 for third. Our former grand marshals will be the judges, says Maranka, so I don't have to pick, he says with a laugh. We kept it wide open. We don't want to put too many restrictions on it as long as it's festive and people like it. There are already around 40 floats signed up for this year's parade, but entries will be accepted until Thursday, April 2nd. The parade lines up starting at 3:30 p.m. and kicks off at 5 p.m. If you want more information, go to the website www.ntdingusday.com with a slash going to the right. There's also an extra theme for the parade this year. Maranka is encouraging people to try and tie in the 250th anniversary of the founding of the United States into the floats and festivities. This is the 6th year for the parade. This is the 6th year for the parade, and Maranka says he and his team try to make it a very family-friendly event and atmosphere from the parade through the party that follows. And excuse me for just a second here. He also thinks the smaller scale event, while still drawing a healthy crowd, is a nice alternative for people who might not want to deal with the bigger crowds at Buffalo's parade. Maranka jokes we're just trying to complement it and get more of a family-friendly atmosphere at ours. That's always our goal. Besides, Maranka laughs, his parade is the longest consecutively run Dingus Day Parade around, as his started in 2021, while Buffalo had to cancel its event that year and the year before due to the pandemic. The mayor in North Tonawanda at the time trusted us, according to Maranka, to be able to put it on safely, and we did. We were very appreciative of that. I think everyone was happy. It wasn't huge. The first one was like a half mile, but everybody loved it. The inspiration for North Tonawonda's parade came from a member of the Chamber of Commerce of the Tonawandas named Michael Parrish, who loved the larger downtown Buffalo parade, but wanted to try something on their home turf. The size and frenzy of it, however, might be overwhelming for some. They wanted to try a smaller scale that's still just as fun and filled with red and white Polish pride. This year's after-party will feature Captain Tom and the Hooligans providing the music for dancing, while the Tonawanda-Erie Canal Gateway Lions Club is cooking up a Polish platter for those who want some traditional foods, while the Vietnam Vets Association, Chapter 77, will be selling American foods. Coffee and Stone, which is another event sponsor, Coffee and Stone, will have some sweets and coffee. The special guests of honor this year will be adoptable dogs from Nickel City Canine Rescue, who will benefit from a 50-50 raffle and the pre-Dingus Day party taking place on Saturday, April 4th at Fatty Beer Company, where people who are participating in the parade can pick up their T-shirts and $1 from all draft beer sales. Will pick up their T-shirts, and $1 from all draft beer sales will go toward the dog rescue. There will also be a face painter available for kids who would like to get into the Dingus Day spirit at no charge to their parents, says Maranka. When asked what he likes most about the holiday, Maranka said he's happiest when people are having a good time. He says it's so fun to bring everyone together, and everyone just has a great time to see all the people participating and having fun. Okay. The calendar of events for Polonia. What day is today? Today's the 20th. All right, so let's go. All right, today, Friday, March 20th, is Buffalo's Best Kielbasa Contest entry deadline. So get your entry documents in. For application, email buffalobestkielbasa@gmail.com. One more time, email buffalobestkielbasa@gmail.com to get your application in for the Best Kielbasa contest. Let's see here. If you're interested in the Polish Genealogical Society of New York State, Research Day at the Buffalo and Erie County Public Library is from 1-5 tomorrow at the Buffalo and Erie County Public Library on Lafayette Square in the Grosvenor Room. Let's see here. On March 22nd, Sunday, there's a commemoration of Revolutionary War heroes on America's 250th anniversary at the Montante Cultural Center near Canisius University, 2001 Main Street, and it's free. On the 28th of March, which is, when's that going to be? Oh, that's next week, next Saturday. March, you'll have Buffalo's Best Kielbasa contest at the Potts Banquet Hall, 41 South Rossler Ave, Cheektowaga, noon until 2:30. Live music by Captain Tom and the Hooligans. Food and drink available for purchase. All right, what else? There's quite a bit going on. Meat raffle on Saturday, April 11th at St. John Gualbert, Fraternal Order of Eagles. This is in Depew at 4569 Broadway. Doors open at 5. First spin at 6 p.m. Ticket admission includes beer, wine, pop, water. For tickets, call Sue at 984-7134. Things are cooking, no pun intended. All right. Proposals are sought for Love U, one word, LOVE, and then the capital letter U. Proposal sought for Love U Buffalo Art Park. New York State Assembly member John Rivera, in partnership with the River Rock Community Coalition, with Art Services, Inc., invites experienced sculptors and sculptural fabricators in Western New York to submit proposals for an outdoor public art project. The selected artist or artist team will design and fabricate a signature sculpture that will serve as the focal point of the park, inspired by a phoenix motif symbolizing renewal and resilience. The location is Love U Buffalo Art Park, located at 99 Thompson Street in Buffalo's Black Rock neighborhood. That's near where my son lives. The budget is $20,000. The project is to be a permanent outdoor sculpture serving as the visual anchor of the developing public art park. Deadline to apply May 1, 2026. All right. The Polish Cadets, located, I believe, on the corner of Grant Street and Amherst Street in Black Rock, looking for helping hands for Good Friday Dingus Day. And for Good Friday and Dingus Day. And before I go any further, let me remind you that you are listening to a reading of articles and features from the Am-Pol Eagle on the Niagara Frontier Radio reading service. And let me take this opportunity to wet my whistle here. All right. I'll reread that headline. Polish cadets looking for helping hands on Good Friday and on Dingus Day. Article starts off with, "It would not be fish fry season without stopping by the Polish cadets at the corner of Grant and Amherst during Lent. The dining room has been open this season but will be closed on March 28th and reopened for Good Friday on April 3rd, and again for festivities on Dingus Day, April 6th. The dining room will be open this Friday on March 20th. Wendy Higgins, the club's president, a good Polish girl, maybe her maiden name is Polish, is asking for a little help to keep things running smoothly the next few weeks. In a post published earlier this month, Higgins is asking for volunteers, both on Fridays in the dining room and on Dingus Day in the kitchen, and on April 6th at the Pussy Willow tent in the Broadway Fillmore neighborhood. She said, "Please help us get through Dingus Day because our club's existence relies on this event each year," she writes. The club has a day-long party starting at 1 p.m., going well into the evening, and is a stop on the shuttle bus that makes laps directly between the cadets and the main stage area at Memorial and Paderewski Drive downtown. Higgins is looking for volunteers for Saturday, April 4th to clean and set up, to decorate for Monday's party. The next day, April 5th, Sunday, she said it's Easter and we don't expect anyone to come, but just to come spend time with your family. But if you don't have plans, please feel free to come out to help out. On Monday, April 6th, she says we will need lots of help from the crack of dawn until the end of the event. Doors open at 12 noon. Festivities begin at 1 p.m. We will need help in the kitchen getting everything ready to serve by 1 p.m., so anytime from 12-ish until 9 p.m. and throughout the day or night, we will need you desperately in the kitchen or at the front door, in the lower hall, taking garbage out and putting liners in the cans. Just help wherever is needed. Anyone interested in helping, pardon me, is encouraged to contact Higgins through the organization's Facebook page. A schedule of Gregorian Masses has been arranged for the late Father Rick Pawlacki at the Infant Jesus Shrine on Niagara Falls Boulevard in North Tonawanda. Masses begin on May 6th and run until June 5th. Masses are scheduled to be said each day at 9:30, with the exception of May 13th and June 3rd, where the Masses will begin at June 4th. If you have any questions, call ahead at 694-4313, which would be again at the Infant Jesus Shrine. And if you'll excuse me, I just have to take a little pause here. I'll be right back. All right, we're back. All right. Moving to more, I suppose, national, international news. Poland will not get involved in the Iran conflict, according to Polish Prime Minister Donald Tusk, and will not deploy troops to Iran amid escalating tensions in the Middle East. The decision applies to all branches of the military and reflects Warsaw's focus on regional security concerns closer to home, particularly the ongoing war in neighboring Ukraine. Tusk emphasized that the Iran situation does not directly threaten Poland's national security and said that the allies, including the U.S., understand their stance. Poland is prioritizing strengthening its defenses in Eastern Europe and securing the Baltic Sea region. Okay, well, that makes sense. All right, here. The Polish Arts Club of Buffalo Scholarship Foundation is accepting applications for a $1,500 scholarship. Applicants must be legal residents of New York State, living in the Western New York area, and be of Polish ancestry. They must also be a student at the junior, senior, or graduate level, majoring in the visual or performing arts at an accredited college or university during the 2026-27 academic year. Deadline for applications by May 1. Information and application availability, go to the Polish Arts Club of Buffalo.org website. I'll repeat that, Polish Arts Club of Buffalo.org. Or call Chairman Stan Nowak at 837-2021. The Polish American Congress, Western New York Division, in collaboration with the town of Cheektowaga, will host the 46th Annual Polish American Arts Festival to be held in Cheektowaga Town Park, 2600 Harlem Road, on July 24th through the 26th in 2026. The Cheektowaga Polish American Arts Festival has been a mainstay in Western New York for almost 50 years. Founded in 1979, following encouragement by then New York State Governor Hugh Carey, the introduction of the festival at the governor's urging would change the summer season for Western New York's Polish community for many years to come. The three-day Cheektowaga Polish American Arts Festival is the area's oldest, largest, and most authentic Polish cultural event. It serves as an extravaganza of Polish culture and features Polish traditional folk art, crafts, foods, dance, music, demonstrations, exhibits, and lectures. Wow, that's a lot. That's quite an agenda here. This year's festival has an incredible talent lineup, including Lenny Gomulka and the Chicago Push, polka country musicians John Gora and the Gorali, Pan Franek, maybe it's Pam, I don't know, Franek, and the Polka Towners, the Concertina All-Stars, Seven, the band Seven, New Direction, and the band Special Delivery. The family-friendly event will begin on Friday, July 24th at 5 p.m. and go until 10 p.m. Saturday, July 25th from 12 p.m. to 10 p.m. and Sunday, July 26th from 12 until 8. There will be a Catholic Mass on Saturday, July 25th at 4 p.m. Admission to the event is free. The Polish-American Congress, Western New York Division President James Lewicki II remarked, quote, "The Polish-American Congress is proud to produce this legacy event for the community. It's a highlight of summer and showcases our wonderful and vibrant Polish culture for all to enjoy. We welcome everyone to attend." I know that the costumes and so on are just beautiful. All right, Polish-American Congress preparing for the 2026 festival, which I think we've already touched on. There's a picture here on the front page entitled Pierogi in the Park. Food vendors filled the restaurant, which is called The Terrace, which is right on Hoyt Lake there in Delaware Park, across from the AKG Art Gallery. Food vendors filled the terrace at 199 Lincoln Parkway at Delaware Park on March 14th, so that was a couple days ago. Sorry about that. For what's called the Pierogi Fest. Pardon me. Patrons tried samples from a wide variety of pierogi vendors, along with selections of sausage and roux, R-O-U-X, soups. Jim Lewicki, the Polish-American Congress Western New York Division President, is pictured along with Peter Jablonski and Danny Potts. And at the bottom of the page, there's a picture of looks like a poet by the name of Joanna Makowska, who made a presentation at SUNY at Buffalo on March 12th, entitled, quote, Beyond Felt Facts, Documentary Assemblages, Nomadic Translations, and Global Crises, by Ms. Makowska. Using her personal work with English and Polish poetry as an example, she delved into the process of translations and the challenges of transitioning between languages. She is an assistant professor at the University of Warsaw, wow, as well as a literary critic and a translator. Having been a Fulbright Scholar at the University of Buffalo and a postdoctoral fellow at Duquesne University, she's currently a visiting professor at Canisius University with support from the Permanent Chair of Polish Culture at Canisius University. Very impressive. And let me pause again to remind you, you're listening to a reading of articles and features from the Am-Pol Eagle on the Niagara Frontier Radio Reading Service. Let me wet my whistle here. And we are now in the editorial page section. Their first editorial is entitled A Season for Everything. The first verse of the third chapter of Ecclesiastes says, quote, There is a time for everything and a season for every activity under the heavens. We, like most folks, lament the rushing of the seasons, and although it is still Lent, we have, in this edition, included our Dingus Day advertisements. We hope that they serve as a guide so people can plan ahead and see what venues have to offer with regards to music, food, and activities, and believe me, there's quite a bit. It is in no way meant to detract from the reflective and spiritual season of Lent, of course. If, as so often happens, seasons extend or overlap and collide with one another, we tend to lose focus. But there's still plenty of time for contemplation and renewal before the glorious celebration of Easter, complete with our Polish traditions. Let's take them all in due time and make them more meaningful. So here's an excerpt from a column written by the Honorable David Franzik, who I believe was a councilman for the City of Buffalo Common Council, whose brother is Tom Franzik, who was a judge and a dear friend of mine. I digress, however. Starts off with Joe's generous gift. All right. Buffalo's North District Council member Joe Golombek Jr. felt uncomfortable when the Common Council voted itself and other city elected officials a raise in 2023. Although Joe works very hard for his constituents, says Mr. Franzik, and in the opinion of Mr. Franzik, certainly deserves a raise. He thought that body was already adequately compensated. Consequently, Joe voted against the pay increase, but the measure passed anyway. Since the council member could not legally refuse the raise, he decided to take the pay bump and donate it to not-for-profit groups in his district, as well as creating a scholarship fund for college-bound North District high school students. Mr. Gollenbeck represents the North Buffalo District. Gollenbeck named the scholarship fund in honor of his mom and dad, Joseph Gollenbeck and Elizabeth Gollenbeck, at Joe's very popular Polish Food Fest fundraiser held at the Polish Cadets on Grant Street earlier this month. He talked about his parents' background and why he named the fund in their memory. His dad, Joseph Sr., was born in Poland and left that country as a young man to escape Nazi and communist oppression. Those were indeed dark times. He got a good job in the auto industry and met his future wife Elizabeth in the Black Rock Riverside neighborhood, where they raised a family. The Joseph and Elizabeth Gollenbeck Scholarship Fund has raised over $6,000 to date, according to the council member, which is used to help qualifying young people to attend a college of their choice. At Joe's crowded fundraiser, Polish-American attorney Peter Reese generously donated $800 to the fund, to the applause of event attendees. His annual Polish Food Fest fundraiser is a big draw for people far and wide, and it was attended by many of his constituents and colleagues in government and folks from far afield. At least 150 people were present for the affair on a weeknight in March. My wife, Anne-Marie, this is Dave Franzik talking, my wife, Anne-Marie, and I see it as a, quote, must-attend, close quote, annual event and go every year. Joe Gollenbeck joked that one of the attendees said, "Joe, I don't care about you, I just love the food." Joe replied that as long as he showed up for the food fest, he didn't care what the guy thought of him. As always, the food and camaraderie were great. For not much money, people enjoyed homemade Polish specialties like smoked kielbasa, pierogi, carrots, mashed potatoes, rye bread, and butter, and pastry. People could and did go back to the Am-Pol buffet line more than once. Franzik said, "I know I did." It was good to see and chat with some of the folks, including numerous Polish Americans. My wife and I sat with Serbian-American community activist Craig Spears. I've known Craig for many years and usually bump into him and his wife Teresa at the annual Serbian festival at St. Stephen Orthodox Church in Lackawanna. Craig lamented that it's getting harder to procure some of the special ingredients needed to make a special Serb pastry that his mother taught him to prepare. Some of the other Polish Americans on hand at the event included Am-Pol Eagle publisher Roger Pukalski, attorney Craig Buckeye, Polish folk dancer Jim Kazarowski, Polish Arts Club president Robert Frankowiak, and Mark and Jacob Jaskula, and the ever-present Am-Pol Eagle photographer Peter Sloan. Among the elected officials who attended the Gollenbeck party were Buffalo Common Council President Joel Ferraletto, who Franzik served with, Erie County Comptroller Kevin Hardwick, who he had a nice chat with, Ellicott District Council Member Leah Halton-Pope, and former Erie County Legislator Lisa Chimera. As a final thought, donating a good chunk of a person's salary, as Joe Gollenbeck is doing, is not an easy thing to do. As a council member, Franzik certainly donated to many worthy causes within and outside his district, but he never carved out as big a percentage of his paycheck or any raise he received like Joe Gollenbeck has. Interestingly, when Franzik first was elected to the Common Council over 40 years ago, the total salary was $29,000 a year. Needless to say, with inflation and the cost of living, the compensation today is considerably, and Franzik thinks appropriately, $84,000 a year. Anyway, kudos, says Franzik, to Councilmember Gollenbeck and wishing him much success. Very nice. Oh, boy. There's a historical article about one of the Polish generals who was tragically murdered at the age of 49 in the spring of 1940 by the Nazis in Poland at a concentration camp, which very sad and kind of bleak. And all the best to, his name was Kazimierz Lukowski, so all the best to his family and many blessings to them. Little kind of a sideline article here. Curious, if an arrow struck your heel, it would no doubt be very painful, but would it be fatal? There is a legend which has been handed down to us by the Greek poet Homer that tells of a warrior known for his excessive bravery, strength, and most of all, his invulnerability. In Homer's tale, Achilles' mother dreamed that her son would be killed in battle. To protect him, she bathed him in the river Styx, S-T-Y-X, which coated him with a protective shield everywhere except on the heel by which she held him. It has been said that during the Trojan War, Paris, on the Trojan side, shot Achilles with a poison arrow guided by the hand of the god Apollo that struck Achilles' heel and immediately killed the otherwise invulnerable warrior. It was quite a loss to the Greeks. Medicine has honored Homer by naming the muscle connecting the calf to the heel the tendon of Achilles. In today's idiom, any vulnerable spot in a person is called an Achilles heel. Okay. Oh, here's an article written by columnist Tom Terapaki. The headline is Smolenska's Creation Continues to Inspire. And he's referring to Anna Smolensky. And this is, again, a World War II era piece. 83 years ago, on March 18, 1943, Anna Smolenska lost her life at the Auschwitz concentration camp. The 23-year-old art student died much too soon, obviously, but her spirit endures to this day in the form of a symbol that she designed to represent Poland's fighting spirit. And there's a drawing of the symbol in the article. It's a P, and at the bottom of the P, going to the right and to the left, are two what appear to be like hooks coming out of the base of the P. So anyway, Anna was born in Warsaw in 1920, the daughter of a professor of chemistry at Warsaw University. She began studying art history at the Faculty of Humanities at the University of Warsaw. When World War II started, the Germans closed the universities and outlawed higher education for the Polish people. Like many of her fellow Poles, she continued her education secretly in Polish. With the code name Hania, H-A-N-I-A, she joined the underground Polish youth organization WAWR, working in various capacities. The organization was named after a massacre of 107 Polish civilians by the Germans that took place in the Warsaw suburb of Wawr in December of 1939. It was part of the underground Polish Scouting Association. One of the first actions of the group was to produce graffiti throughout the Polish capital commemorating that massacre. Members painted, in Polish, it translated into "We will avenge Wawr," on walls and buildings. At first, they painted the whole text. Later, concerned with being detected by the Germans, they shortened it to two letters, P and W. In early 1942, the Office of Information and Propaganda Bureau of the Home Army announced a contest to design an underground symbol of fighting Poland that would be easy to reproduce and paint. There were 27 submissions, and the jury panel selected the symbol selected by Smolenska. So her design was a kotwicka, or anchor, which combined the letter P for Poland with a W for the struggle, and it represented Polska was, boy, this is tough. It was a simple, bold, and memorable symbol, just as important. It was quick and easy to paint, making it easier for the Polish graffiti artists to avoid detection by the German occupiers. Her prize was the gratitude of an embattled nation and the satisfaction of seeing her creation reproduced throughout Poland to symbolize the resistance. After the publication of the results of the contest in the Polish underground paper in April of '42, the symbol became widely used. It became a symbol of the Polish defiance against the German occupiers and gained tremendous popularity in various forms. The most famous anchors were painted in May of '42 by Jan Bittner and Jan Gut on the Airman Monument in Uni Square, a memorial to Polish flyers who died in the First World War and the Polish-Soviet War. The monument was located just a short distance from Gestapo headquarters. In November of '42, the Gestapo arrested Anna and her parents. They were taken to the Powiat prison in Warsaw, then run by the Gestapo. It was known as an overcrowded, inhumane facility where brutality against Poles was commonplace. 100,000 people were imprisoned there, 37,000 died there, and another 60,000 were transferred to Nazi concentration camps. At Powiat, Anna was tortured and interrogated by the Gestapo, who wanted to know the names and whereabouts of her associates. Despite the savagery brought on her, she refused to betray the underground, and she was deported to Auschwitz in early '43. She died of typhus in March of '43. She was commemorated in 1998 by a memorial plaque at the Warsaw University of Technology that was dedicated to her and Tadeusz Zawadzki, who was a leader of the Polish underground. She created a symbol that inspired and motivated Poles during some of its darkest days and continues to do so. However, in many ways, her remarkable life and death has also become a lasting symbol of Polish courage and resolve. And there's three small photographs of her, and she was a very attractive young woman and wearing one of the striped pajamas that inmates at these awful, awful places had to wear, and it's very tragic. Sorry to be kind of a buzzkill today, but she was a remarkable woman and certainly deserves a little time. All right. Let me take this opportunity to remind you you're listening to a reading of articles and features from the Am-Pol Eagle on the Niagara Frontier Radio Reading Service. Okay. Looking for some articles here. Here's an article in the Health and Seniors section. Polish scientists co-create European model for dementia prevention. Let me take a sip of water here. Scientists from the Medical University of Lublin are participating in an international project aimed at slowing the development of dementia through early risk detection and tailored preventative measures. Around 40 patients are currently enrolled in the clinical phase at the Lublin Center, with recruitment set to expand gradually to 100 participants, according to a press release that was sent to the PAP. I don't know what that stands for. Anyway, data from Alzheimer Europe, which is a non-governmental organization bringing together 41 Alzheimer's associations from 36 countries, show that more than 9 million people in Europe are affected by various forms of dementia. The number is expected to exceed 14 million by 2050. In Poland, more than 600,000 people are estimated to live with dementia. Quote, from the demographic point of view, we are facing a huge challenge. The aging of the population is a fact, and forecasts clearly indicate a sharp increase in the number of people with cognitive disorders and dementia in the coming decades, close quote, said Professor Konrad Rejdak from the Department and Clinic of Neurology at the Medical University of Lublin. It's worth emphasizing that dementia is not only a medical problem, it's also a social, economic, and organizational challenge. Professor Rejdak leads the Polish team in the international Comfortage project. Comfortage is comfort and then AGE. Oh, Comfort Age, probably. Comfort Age project. The Comfort Age initiative, financed under the Horizon Europe program, focuses on early detection of dementia risk factors, monitoring cognitive function in at-risk individuals, and implementing personalized health recommendations intended to slow disease progression at both individual and population levels. According to the professor, dementia diseases today constitute, quote, a serious burden on the healthcare system, and this burden will only increase in the future, close quote. So, research conducted within the Comfort Age model is expected to contribute to the development of a modern model of care for people with cognitive disorders and those at risk of dementia. The model could be systematically implemented in Poland's healthcare system in the future. If it can be demonstrated that this approach slows down the development of cognitive disorders, it may be of great importance, both for patients and their families and for the entire system. It's an investment in the future at a time when the number of patients with dementia will continue to increase, period. Okay, well, interesting. Here's an advertisement for a lawyer who specializes in elder law, whose name is Dawn Myszka, Myszka. She works at the law firm of Falsgraf, Beinauer, Greer, Harris, Schuler, LLP on Cayuga Road out by the airport, Suite 600. Go to their website at pelderlaw.com, and will give you peace of mind in crucial times, according to the advertisement. She specializes in Medicaid planning, wills and estates, power of attorney, and asset preservation. All right, something to keep in mind. Prominently pictured is a group of happy, sharp-looking individuals who belong to the Chopin Singing Society. They're having a dress rehearsal on March 10th in anticipation of the free concert celebrating Frédéric Chopin's birthday and commemorating Revolutionary War heroes on America's 250th anniversary, and that will take place this coming Sunday on March 22nd at 2:30 p.m. at the Montanti Cultural Center at Canisius University on Main Street. The organization is also planning for its Dingus Day celebrations at St. Stanislaus Social Hall in Buffalo. And there's probably about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, probably about close to 20 to 25 people, and there's a young lady playing the piano, and everybody's wearing, it looks like a red blazer, very sharp, and I'm sure they will entertain anybody who goes to listen to them sing. Okay, here's I think probably the last article of my reading to you today. Headline: Polish-American history was bottled for all to enjoy. And again, let me take a sip of water. And the author's Peter Jablonski, when I was preparing a PowerPoint on Buffalo's brewing industry, I had the opportunity to get a tour in the vacant Schreiber Brewing Company bottling plant on Fillmore near Broadway in the heart of Polonia. That's also near the Torn Space Theater, which is a wonderful, wonderful theater. In the upstairs tasting room were canvas murals depicting the history of beer making, featuring one mural with Egyptians and another with Louis Pasteur. These murals are now located in Triet Distributing on Walden Avenue in Lancaster. Anthony Schreiber immigrated from the German part of Poland. He was active in the Polish community and was friends with famous composer Ignacy Paderewski, after whom we named Paderewski Drive. He assisted Paderewski in recruiting soldiers during World War I. During Prohibition, Schreiber's brewery, like other breweries that stayed open, turned to the manufacturing of other products. Schreiber was famous for its Manrue coffee. Manrue was the name of one of Paderewski's operas. Manrue was also the name of his flagship beer. He did not want people to forget that name. Today, Buffalo Brewing Company is brewing at that location and has reintroduced Schreiber's beers to the Buffalo community. And there's a picture of a label off of a bottle, and it's a kind of a drawing that was done by a guy named Anthony Skarzinski, that he won the gold medal in 1907 in Poland for his drawing. Anyway, so the author again of this article, Peter Jablonski, goes on to say that I have two different pharmacy bottles from Brzezicki Pharmacy from the corner of Peckham and Detroit Streets. One is all in Polish, where it says Brzezickiego, and there's, I can't read it, I'm sorry, which translates to Brzezicki's cough syrup. Marianne Brzezicki was born in 1873 in Prussia. It's a man. He immigrated with his family to Buffalo in 1880 when he graduated from St. Stanislaus School, which, parentheses, the same school that the author graduated from in 1980, where they learned some basic Polish and how to dance some Polish folk dances from their teacher from Poland, Pani Elżbieta, and he also then attended, this is Mr. Brzezicki, attended the University of Buffalo studying pharmacy. He graduated in 1900 and a year later opened his own pharmacy at Peckham Street. His was the first Polish pharmacy in Polonia, and he added two new locations on Ridge Road and Lovejoy Street in 1912. He was an active member of Polonia societies, such as the Polish Roman Catholic Union, the Polish Charity Circle, and the Monescu Singing Society. So the club entertained Polish people with theatricals, concerts, lectures, entertainments, and parties. They had a club room at 387 Peckham where members could enjoy reading books and so on. His professional organizations included the Alumni Association of Buffalo College Pharmacy. And let's see here. This is a fairly large article. So I think I'll stop there right now and remind you that you've been listening to a reading of articles and features from the March 19, 2026 issue of the Am-Pol Eagle. We read from the Am-Pol Eagle every Saturday at 3 p.m. Your reader has been me, George Collins. Thank you so much for listening. Have a wonderful Dingus Day celebration, and take care of yourselves. All the best.
Coming up next in the Niagara Frontier Radio Reading.
The following program is intended for listeners who are blind, have low vision, or have another print disability,